Bush Radio. Bush Radio.
Your real talk radio.
Here we go.
State Affairs with Edmund Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
How is South Africa? How were you able to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic?
South Africa has coped very well with the pandemic in terms of the responses by the government. We have seen one of the more systematic, one of the more organized responses on the continent. They have what they call the pandemic council. It's like a war council that the president chairs and has, all the relevant ministers and, the chief scientists and so on. So as much as possible, they've tried to follow not what the rest of the world is doing, but, to see how they can, use their resources and use their expertise and, local things to deal with matters seriously. I'll give you an example. So they came up with a 5-level timetable that said the whole country is in a state of emergency. So that puts us at level 5. Now, at level 5, these are the terms and conditions that will govern the lockdown. You cannot do X, you cannot do Y, and so on. They also gave certain targets and parameters. If we are able to achieve X, Y, Z, and we are convinced that that lasts for 1 week, we can, after 1 month, review it. So we are into it's about the 65th or 67th day. The country has moved to level 3. And in moving to level 3, they are saying all of us would not be treated the same way. In other words, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. There are hotspots, and we are going to concentrate on those hotspots. The universities are open, the researches are going on, the researchers are coming up with things, all kinds of things are going on. And so there is some confidence building. There is, the credibility, and, people are not asking the question, why are they depriving us of our rights? No. Everyone knows that it's a fight that we must all win, and that everyone in this fight is a soldier. A soldier goes to war to fight the enemy. So the whole country has a common enemy. This is a country that has dealt with HIV/AIDS. So they understand what fighting together means. This is a country that has been through liberation struggles. They understand what fighting together means. But in the midst of all of this, and this is the beauty of it, South Africa is one of the most democratic countries in the world, not just in Africa. So one of the opposition parties has gone to court to say that, the lockdown is unconstitutional, is illegal. And the court has ruled that indeed the government, didn't have the constitutional right to lock down the country. Okay? So you find, all of those movements, but that's the beauty of a country. It's vibrant, it's doing well, taking one thing at a time, but it is pursuing a very credible program along the lines of its 5-level time frame for dealing with this. So it has moved from level 5 to 4. Now we're on level 3, and maybe at the end of the month they will review the situation, and possibly by August, they may be at level 1. But again, this is a country that is comes closest to what you find in Europe. So South Africa is getting into winter now. And they expect that if winter is a factor, for the spread of coronavirus, then they might yet have, a rise in infections. So as far as they are concerned, they haven't hit the peak yet.
How was it like for you in isolation?
Well, isolation simply means staying in my house. Because I live in a university town, so we didn't have those kinds of pressures. The shops were open. You go for your groceries. You could take a walk. And you had to be reasonable about doing those things. But it's over now. It was an interesting experience, just to see that you can be all by yourself and so on. But otherwise, it's been good.
There was this prediction of doom and gloom for Africa with regard to COVID-19, but it seems Africa is moving on.
Now, well, this is where you would find a different kind of perspective that I have. As soon as that came, I joined faith with several people of faith who know that God is all in all. And we said, as a key prayer point, God used the foolishness of Africa to confound these predictions of doom. Let the people see that not only for once, God loves Africa. And God has answered the prayers, and He will continue to answer. Now, they are going to ask questions again after all of this is done to come to find out what was it about Africa. Initially the point was, they are not testing enough. South Africa has tested over 600,000 now. And the total infections are about 25,000. Or 35,000, 25 or so, Now, Nigeria has tested only about 38,000, and we have nearly 12,000 infections. Think of the proportionalities, okay? On the whole, God has answered our prayers concerning Africa. I don't have, other explanations for it, but the world now knows that there is something about Africa that the world will have to learn from.
Perhaps this is the time for Africa to move into a new order.
There's always been that urge for Africa to move to a new order. It was the late Professor Ali Masri that talked about the amazing capacity of Africans to forget. So chances are that once this is over, we would have missed the opportunity again, because good times will roll and then we all forget. But I hope, that the lessons we have learned, especially with regard to our capacities to deal with health issues, those capacities are not going to disappear. And I'm happy Nigeria is doing a similar thing. We are learning to build those capacities, because at the end of it all, what coronavirus is teaching us, especially in places like Nigeria, is that there comes a time when the rich and the poor, the powerful, the mighty and the ordinary are leveled. All of us now face the same conditions. People can not run away because other countries that they used to go to are dealing with their own problems and are not able to absorb so many. I mean, most recently, one of the ministers, I think it was in Gabon, died.